Previously on Restoration, the team adjusts to being back at APTAP. Sarathiel and Chaz snipe at each other as Viernan manages the surprise appearance of his fiancée at work.
How the fuck did that happen?
I don't know, and I don't like not knowing, Gwen. It's not supposed to be possible.
Is there any research that we could do?
That's a good point.
Oh, there's always research we can do. That I specifically intend to do immediately after this meal.
Have we told somebody? Don't we need to tell somebody? I look around. Does the administrator know?
All right.
No.
Gwen, keep your voice down, all right?
Why? Surely if it's happening to us, doesn't everyone need to know about it? What if it's going to happen to those people over there? And I point at a total random group of strangers.
Gwen, think through it logically, all right? This is something that APTAP has explicitly told us should be impossible, and yet it's not. Which means either one of two things. APTAP doesn't know, which makes them dangerously ignorant, or APTAP does know, which means they're lying.
Chaz definitely looks and, just stares at Sarathiel yeah.
There's also a third option, which is that this is not supposed to happen and something happened to allow it.
Chaz is just staring at him because, wow, right, those are very good points. Are you feeling all right?
Again, maybe, can we just finish the bacon and go somewhere else before we talk?
Yes, I agree.
So this is, it's not wrong. We shouldn't talk about this here. Ears everywhere.
Do we need to go to the library? That's a good point. We can just find research. Maybe this has happened before. Maybe there's got to be something. You said there was a book. You said there was a book about meeting your mother in the past. If that has happened, then this has happened before.
I mean, this is literally why APTAP was founded, was to stop shit like this happening. But again, let's maybe wait until we're somewhere private to keep talking. Please? I've had a lot going on this morning.
Oh, I heard some of that. So sorry. And he passes, more coffee, and he takes out a flask and dumps some whiskey in it, here you go, bud.
Now that he's got at least half of his intellect, everything you do, Sarathiel is judging. So harsh.
Viernan is not thrilled about the spiked coffee, so he just kind of declines it, but appreciates the gesture, I guess.
All right, I had some left over from when Tanya was having a sleepover, whatever.
So I think you guys managed to eat in kind of sounds like very tense silence. Okay, this is fun. Like this, not a bit. I like where Gun's going with the idea of the library. The problem is the APTAP library is the one that would have information on this. One, it's probably locked down. Two, it's still in APTAP, and Viernan doesn't seem to want to talk about anything that just happened inside APTAP.
Oh, Chaz is definitely of the same mind. Yeah, no, not here.
Yeah, Sarathiel is going to suggest maybe let's take a walk outside Silvermoon. Maybe get some brunch or something.
A walk! Gwen, that's just what you need, isn't it? To get all those jitters out.
I think you can kind of see him, low-key vibrating.
He's no, seriously, let's go for a walk. You need to get that out of your system.
I think it's fine. Everything's fine. We should probably just go to the...
V manages to, sleight of hand switch yours with a decaf cup. It's still a giant bowl, but it's decaf now.
Chaz is very much for, yeah, let's go for a walk. This one is going to explode otherwise.
Might explode if we do. You guys go for a walk. Sarathiel, you had suggested outside of the city?
Somewhere. Just like outside the primary building. Just like...
I think there's probably a park nearby, which is probably the most private you'll be able to get. Sadly, none of us took useful spells like silence or, anything that would allow us to...
Useful spells are boring!
You find a nice, quiet spot. If you like, probably Viernan and Chaz, you're assigned keep an eye out for things. Just to, double check, because you have Lotus, so Lotus can be keeping an eye out for any eavesdroppers or anything.
I definitely send her out so that I can make sure the premises is safe.
I feel like everyone's being paranoid, so I'm not particularly we need to be checking out for stuff.
Yeah, we are.
So as soon as you all find a nice little spot in the park and sit down, Sarathiel says, "So I think my mark is fractured, at least partially."
And I can confirm that. It is.
I'm not entirely sure what that means.
That explains a lot. Definitely, the look is very different.
Yes. He stares at you like, oh, you are on thin ice with this comment, Jasmine.
So wait, I guess, I haven't asked this. Is the mark visible for people who don't know about it?
It's partially visible. It starts at the left side of his chest and goes up to his neck under his jawbone. So kind of, you can kind of see the top of it.
The point is that any bit of it that would be exposed by, not being covered by armor would be in a point that is likely to kill him if he gets hit there.
Yep, the idea is if he is going to break his mark, at least he'll be dead.
I think it's probably reasonable that I wouldn't really have noticed.
So Viernan has told you, broad strokes about Sarathiel as powerful. He's been very vague about everything, but, it doesn't take a genius to put together that there's something about this mark. Viernan has obviously checked it in front of you a couple of times, especially when Sarathiel showed signs of intelligence last time.
So yeah, I guess I would have, kind of figured it out, but I feel like I was also just I'm an intern, I'm not super, so I'm not, super, up on it.
Mm-hmm.
You do remember Viernan being very concerned the last time it broke.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Does this have to do with the weird marks on the back of your... What's that about?
Sarathiel tugs the collar of his shirt down so you can see most of it. It's white, glowing white, not like a white ink tattoo, glowing white, like a rune. Although, does it look any different now? DM?
I think maybe it is glowing a little less intently than it usually does.
Maybe flickering?
Yeah, a little bit. And it seems to be kind of flickering in the area where you, Sarathiel, know that Belle touched you.
Yeah. So he tugs the collar down so Gwen can see it, and he says, "I've had this my entire life, or at least as far back as I can recall."
I'm studying it. This is fascinating. DM, do I know anything, or can I roll to see if I've seen anything like this before? Because, I study magic.
You're welcome to try. I mean, you've heard of magical tattoos. They're not anything like this, though. This is something different. Your best guess is that this is something that maybe the artificers at APTAP did something special, but you've heard of tattoos that hold a spell or things like that before.
Okay, so I'm going to study and be so this is, there's a spell? I look at Viernan,
There's only so much that I know, and there is only so much I can explain. He answers very carefully.
Sarathiel notices, can explain or will explain?
Yeah, that's a weird way to put it, Viernan.
Yeah, Chaz is definitely, not saying anything, but he's also, very intently watching Viernan try to sidestep this.
A lot of information about the mark is redacted. There's only a certain amount that I know. But APTAP believes that Sarathiel posed a considerable threat without the mark.
Why?
I'm looking back and forth at both Sarathiel. This Sarathiel, the one in front of us.
Viernan, why? What can you tell me? I have to know. This has been my entire life.
I know that you were removed from your timeline.
What does that mean? Removed from what?
Gwen, time isn't linear. There's multiple options.
Yeah, I know time isn't linear, but
Yes, we all saw that.
you kidnapped him?
Not me.
Okay, APTAP kidnapped him. It's much better than you personally, Viernan.
Kidnapped.
Right, that's one way of putting it. Yeah, kidnapped.
Is this why I have vague memories of a mother?
Look, in the original timeline, what I have been able to find, the little that is actually, that I actually have clearance for, you were a very powerful sorcerer and a very evil one. And APTAP considered you a major threat and thought that this was the only option to avoid catastrophe.
Chaz sort of tilts his head at the words powerful evil sorcerer, like, could he have been the reason that our timelines could be accessed?
Sarathiel? No. No.
I didn't do this. I didn't do that, Chasmia.
However, you think maybe Belle might have.
Yeah, no, he's putting that together. He's just not saying it yet.
Chaz just like looks at you though. He's like, how would you know?
I think I would remember if I intentionally messed with a timeline.
Would you?
It's not the sort of magic that he had, and he did not have access to any magic until the mark was broken. It's nothing to do... Fuck, I said too much.
This is messed up.
Listen, I agree with you wholeheartedly.
So APTAP kidnapped me out of my primary timeline because I was a threat. Wouldn't it have been easier to just kill me? Wouldn't it have been more humane?
They, imprisoned him here. What?
That's why I can't leave.
I'm, staring back and forth at, Sarathiel and Viernan, this is wrong, Viernan.
I have been arguing for him to have more freedoms.
More freedoms?
I've been arguing for him to be treated. Listen to me, please. I don't agree with what they've done. But in order to keep him safe, I had to keep my job, which included doing things I was not proud of. I want to make that right. I don't agree that you could be evil. I haven't seen any evidence of that, Sarathiel.
Sarathiel has a complicated look on his face, because now he's definitely thinking about Belantiel. He has some pretty strong evidence to suggest that he actually is evil. The other half of my soul is apparently a terrorist! He is really, really... He's not even hearing the conversation at this point. He's really thinking.
After he hears that whole spiel from V, he's like, well... that information definitely puts what I saw into different light. Are we going to talk about that, by the way? Since we're here and outside of ears, what did you see, Viernan?
He just crumples. I don't want to believe it.
Believe what, Viernan?
This city, it's destroyed.
Silvery Moon? All of Silvery Moon? Destroyed how? What?
It's gone.
Chaz is the only one who does not look surprised and also does not say anything.
my whole family, everyone I know. He's not hearing at this point. He's just been put back because he did not sleep well. He has not had a good night. He's not very functional.
Did you find out what happened, or?
Gwen.
I saw it.
Was it, on fire, or?
The city was overrun by this army of demons. Shaba led them.
Who?
The Shaba? Ooh, he got a 19! Sarathiel! I think Sarathiel chimes in, back before he got the mark, maybe, he read a book about, just the Farunian pantheon. And he says, Beshaba, she's the goddess of misfortune and bad luck, sister to Timora, right? What does she have to do with anything?
I don't know. I honestly don't.
Chaz hears the word goddess and immediately just what's the word? Crackles? That's a good word. You can see electricity from his ring going up his arm and dancing away into the air.
What? Chaz?
Hey, what's up?
That's what we'd like to know.
You went kind of sparkly there, buddy.
Yeah. The Silvery Moon being destroyed part was not new to me, but...
What?
Quick follow-up question. Why is that not news to you?
That was mentioned in what I saw, but...
And what did you see exactly?
I saw my future husband, or ex-husband, whichever way you want to look at it.
What?
He told me the following. 1, his body was destroyed by a portal, and I had to save him by putting his soul in a sword. And he had just come back after 150 years of being a sword. 2, we burned APTAP.
What?
And 3, Silver Moon was destroyed. That is what he told me.
When you say we...
I assume he meant the two of us. It's starting to piece together.
After what you've learned, Gwynedd, are you really surprised? The writing is on the wall, isn't it? What APTAP has done, not just to me, but apparently to the entire city of Silvery Moon?
Wait, that doesn't...
Checks out, I was wondering.
That doesn't mean you're supposed to burn it. I don't really feel like that's a little extreme. I'm looking kind of frantically between the two of you.
He says...
Is it?
And for once, Viernan is not the voice of calm and confidence and reason.
Chaz just sort of looks at Gwen with that question. He's like, is it though?
Sarathiel stands up and starts pacing.
I'm just kind of speechless.
Goddess, that changes.
I don't know that I would go that extreme, but we need to know more about why this happened. And frankly, I need to know more about your ex.
Why?
I highly doubt that just the two of you could bring this all down.
That's true.
No offense, but...
Oh, no, none taken. He was extremely pretty, but obviously I was the brains of the operation.
Sarathiel says, if there's anyone who would have any answers for us, it would be the administrant, wouldn't it?
Or the, files.
Okay, but you have to agree not to, burn her down.
He says, okay, I have an idea. And he puts his hands on the back of the bench and sort of leans over it to talk to the others. He says, how about I go in and talk to Oriana? I have some information that she might be keen to know. And if she wants it, she's going to have to give equal reciprocity. And while I'm doing that, why don't you two, going to Chasmere, and maybe Gwen if you want to... He's a little worried about assigning you a stealthy role, Gwen, no offense.
That's a good thing to be worried about, yes.
Why don't some of you get into the file room?
I'm not sure that Gwen is very suited to stealth, but I certainly am, and I have no qualms about breaking and entering. It's the most fun, after all.
You can come with me if you prefer, Gwen.
I don't...
If only to keep him out of the stealth mission. That's all I'm saying. If only to keep him out of sneakies.
It's a good call.
Chaz is it's a good idea, me and the sneakies, but you and Gwen with Oriana.
My point, though, is Oriana is dangerous if cornered.
He says, I know. I'm counting on it.
I'm sorry, what?
Okay, so you want to put yourself in danger immediately.
Yeah, no, I think that's terrible idea.
He says, why? Wouldn't it be kinder? Apparently, if I'm so dangerous, wouldn't it be just better if I was dead? This is the best of both worlds, right? Gwen comes with me in case I don't make it out. He can relay whatever information that I learned.
Oh, so you're just going to let him watch you die? Good plan.
No.
I'm not saying it has to end in death. I'm just saying that I am begging for a reason for her to force my hand. I have some questions.
Why not wait until you have more of the information to confront her with, Sarathiel? You might be able to find your file and you could actually see what happened. Get more of the context first.
It would be safer if I distracted her while you went in, wouldn't it?
At this point, would anything be safe? Safe is a relative term, really. But it's your call, V.
I'm staring in panic, sheer horror. This isn't what I signed up for.
Shit. Why do I have to be the one to make a decision on this? I don't want you to confront her without me. I want to be there when you do this.
He makes a sort of angry, scoffing sound.
I won't stop you, if that's what you're thinking. She and I are on tense time right now. I want to see her held accountable for what she's done, but rushing in without plan, even as a diversion, doesn't seem wise.
Sarathiel takes a couple steadying breaths. In the end, he's used to doing this. He's used to sitting on his pain and his anger and his grief, just because it's inconvenient for the people around him. So he breathes for a while, and then he says, "Fine. I guess we could start a small fire in a laboratory instead or something."
Chaz sort of chuckles at that. Chaz is like, V is right, though. I understand wanting revenge. He doesn't elaborate on that. But we do need to know more.
Yeah, if it's all the same, I'm not going to take my moral advice from you, Chasmia.
It wasn't advice, nor was it moral, but all right. If you're going to be a bitch about it.
Oh, don't even get me started.
Okay, we cannot do this if we are fighting each other.
Chaz doesn't get him started because he immediately, looks away from you and looks at V.
I'm just like, where is all of this? It's been a long day.
It's been a week since we've been gone.
Oh, God.
Fuck, that's why she was so mad. Shit.
I heard her all the way down the hallway. Didn't she start off with that?
Oh god, she did. This has been a long, long day.
Yeah, for us we've been gone that long. Stuck in these timelines.
It just sounds like we need to regroup.
Srathiel says, "Why don't we put this plan of ours into action come nightfall? That'll give us some time for us to," he just kind of eyes you and talk to who we need to talk to, perhaps.
Yeah.
I'll plan to make the diversion, I don't know, shall we say 8 bells?
Yeah, that works.
Gwen, don't you have to tell your father where you are?
I, look up, and I'm like, oh, no. Oh no.
I haven't written to my father in a week, oh no!
Your father has called out the National Guard.
Chaz is like, oh my god, I've been wondering this whole time. I kept feeling something vibrate. Oh, it's the sending stone. That's what I kept feeling.
Oh god. I look down and and so patting my pockets oh god, he's gonna be so worried. He might be on his way here. He said that if I just stopped writing to him that he was gonna have to come and take me back personally. Oh no. And if he finds out about our trip back in time, I don't think he's gonna let me stay here.
So this is right. So talk to who you need to talk to. 8 bells. Well, okay?
Yep.
I'll meet you at the file room. Okay. I'll meet you at the laboratory. Gwen, go ahead. Go. Talk to your father.
Okay. I run off. I sprint. Full on. Just robes flapping behind me.
Sarathio remarks as he runs, he's alright.
Good kid.
Little squirrely, but...
Don't you also have a fiancé to talk to?
Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah, V does not like the idea of just leaving you out here, but, he knows you're smart now. You're okay, and Chaz is here. I mean...
10 int, which is just normal.
He's fine now. Chaz makes showing motions go tell your beloved that it's fine.
Yeah, you think this is going to be a conversation that ends at 8 bells? Cool.
Do your best.
Do your best. I believe in you. I don't know anything about love, so good luck.
Not touching that one with a 50-foot pole. I'll see you tonight. Please don't get in trouble, either of you.
No promises.
I'll be fine, Vianen.
Okay. He heads out, which is a big sign of trust.
And then Chaz immediately turns to Sarath and is like, so, what is it?
He stares at you really hard for a long time. Just keep your distance, Letcher.
What? I didn't...
Did you think that I was flattered? Did you think I took it as a compliment? All those days you spent leering at me, making passes at me, your behavior was repulsive, and you'll no longer be protected from the repercussions by my own stupidity.
I did not leer.
Really? You want to try to deny it to me?
Fine. Perhaps I overstepped the boundaries of decency. I apologize. It wasn't my intention to cause harm.
Wasn't it? Because I've noticed your predilections. Tell me, where exactly did you pick up the taste for men who are so easy to manipulate, Chasmere? I'd assumed you'd left those in the Underdark, doing away with such practices.
Don't talk as though you understand my situation.
Of course. Perhaps I'm wasting my breath. You've never taken anything seriously in your life, have you? You dance and obfuscate and joke. You value nothing. You respect nothing, least of all me.
What? I do respect you, Sarathiel.
Well, I've certainly never had occasion to see it.
I admire how you're always charging ahead to save others. And don't I always have your back when you do? You're right that there are better ways to show it.
The sentiment must have gotten lost between all the time you spent staring at me like I was a flank steak. If you're just going to deny every accusation I lay at your feet, perhaps we're both better off leaving the conversation here. Clearly, as ever, you have no desire to treat anything with any sense of gravity.
Fine. You want to know why? Why I insist on this so-called dancing? It's because I can't stand having conversations like these. I prefer the uncomplicated because they never ask questions like this. I get enough assumptions and racism from the people I don't like. I don't need any more from the people I call my friends.
Oh, the irony hits Sarathiel like a wave. Oh, I'm so sorry. It must be so uncomfortable being reduced like that. I can't imagine what it's like.
You've made your point, Sarathiel.
I suppose we'll see, won't we?
After completely being torn apart like that, he's like, welp, I am going to deal with it the way I deal with everything, but not dealing with it. He's going to go look into stuff specifically. I guess? Would the library be open now?
Yeah, it's the day, and also you're an artificer.
Perfect. Excellent. Yeah. So he's going to go to the librarian and like lean on the desk like, hello, I have a special request.
What is it, Chaz? The librarians are used to your shit.
I was just wondering if you had any books.
We have
on
so many books,
Ace.
Chaz.
You have so many books. Do you have any on Stella Battlestar, particularly?
Probably.
Great. And also any sort of troll battles. That would be great. Point me in the direction.
You realize, like, the Vault of the Sages would have been a better choice for this than our Okay. But, you know, the librarian goes and gets what APTAP has on it. Like they said, the Vault of the Sages probably has more comprehensive stuff, but...
Bold of you to assume he's not also going to the Vault of Sages.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was going to say, that's so bold of you to assume that he's only going to research in one place. Oh.
Sarathiel just tore his ribcage out. He's going to be burying himself in books for the next week.
Yep. Fair. Yeah, okay. They find a couple of histories. Some are more helpful than others. You know, some it's a footnote in something else or whatever.
Or maybe he could save like those specific books for the vault, and then he wants to research timelines because that's more artificer stuff.
That's more appropriate to APTAP library.
All right, so what am I rolling?
I guess a history check.
Ooh, that's a good roll.
Ooh. Okay, so with a 23, you get the usual, like, there's like 20 manuals, and all of them, the first rule is don't mess with timelines.
Blah, blah, blah. I know that already. Tosses them behind him. He's like, whatever.
Horrified librarian noises. But quiet.
Immediately picks them up and brushes it off. Sorry, it's fine. You're...
The bindings! No, so, like, you find generic things, but you know how to dig, you know how to cajole people to get you things that they're really not supposed to, and you are an artificer. Now, the question is, can you do it without being suspicious?
Oh. Do you want me to roll for that, or do you want me to roleplay that? What do you want me to do with that?
I would like to see what you say to a librarian to convince them to get you what you are looking for, and then maybe roll.
Yeah, the librarians all are aware of him. They know this shit.
So you've got all the basic time books from APTAP. Like, it's all basically the same shit. Like, just don't mess with the timeline. Don't do this, because that causes paradoxes, you know.
Yeah.
Just a thought, for this kind of a thing, maybe you want to involve your bestie, a professional admin who's used to asking for other things.
I know. And also, last night I told her don't do paperwork, and she was like, oh!
I know. How dare you?
Definitely gonna go find Tanya. Like, Tanya. Immediately leans up against her desk too, like, hey, babe.
You feeling better?
Not going to answer that question, but you know what you do like? You like paperwork, don't you? You love paperwork. Yes, you do.
What do you need?
He's like, well, it has to do with the things that we talked about. I am doing some delicate research about timelines and portals and...
And you want me to get involved?
I mean, you are an expert. You know all the loopholes. I'm pretty sure if you tried to kill someone, they'd never find the body.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Right, exactly. You know all the legal loopholes. Like, they'd never catch you, which is why you're perfect for this.
I've never done anything wrong. How dare you?
I know. I'm doing all the wrong things for you. Calm down. You are perfect, and you've never done anything wrong in your life, and I love that about you.
Then what the hell do you need me for?
I need some paperwork to find about, how to revisit timelines.
Oh, that's the shit that goes on my permanent file if I access this shit. It's like accessing books about the Troll Massacre. Fine.
Have I told you how much I love you today?
Oh, fuck. Believe that when I see it.
I'm wounded. Did I not spend the night in your embrace? How dare.
It'll take me some time. I'll get it. Do what I can.
He leans across the desk and, smooches one of her tasks. Like, thanks, babe.
This is the biggest ask. Ugh. All right, fine. You owe me big.
I do. It's true, and you can hold me to that.
Oh, believe me, I will.
Whatever you need.
All right, so she's going to find you something, and presumably you're going to go looking now for stuff on Stella Battlestar.
Indeed. While she's doing that, he's like, okay, I'm busy, bye.
Typical. All right, so you're headed over to the Vault of the Sages. These folks are a little bit more open to your flattery, mostly because they haven't dealt with it much. Flattery, flirtation, whatever, to find books that you need.
There we go. There's this really old man with a beard down to the floor, and Chaz is like, wow, how do you keep it so smooth?
I use beard oil and this wax and that and this potion and...
He's 90 years old, in human years, and Chaz is like, amazing, you look so great for your age.
Of course, elves don't grow beards, so this has to be a half-elf man or a human or something.
Exactly. It'd be half-elf or human. He's like, fascinating. Elves don't have facial hair. I've always wanted to grow a beard. I'm so jealous.
All right, you've charmed this geezer.
Old man. He's an old man fucker. Oh, I love you, Chaz.
Oh, God. Yeah, he takes you to a room and gets you set up with a reading room and has some pages bring you some books.
Excellent. Do I need to do another roll to see what I find?
Yep, because this is a different history. Alrighty.
14. Not as great as last time, but whatever.
So, you find a decent amount of stuff, probably because, she was so famous and it was a big battle that was nearby. Also because the Vault of the Sages prides themselves on having as much information as possible. Sifting through it takes you a long time, and you feel like it's going to take you a while to figure out what are you trying to find.
Well, first of all, he wants a better idea of who she was.
Okay. Well, yeah, you've definitely got biographies of her as a leader. You've got, stories of battles that she won and, things like that, and treatises on her failures, her successes, etc.
He's definitely going to be studying that about her victories and her losses and all that, because that's interesting to him. He's like, military tactics. And also, perhaps any sort of details about the particular battle that she died in.
Okay.
Any defining details specifically. He's like, what set this battle apart? Where was it specifically? What time and day was it?
Well, you don't find that level of granularity, not with that role. I think you find more of the broad strokes about the battle. The day, roughly where it happened, who the sides were, things like that, things that make it into the history books. But the granularity of what was the phase of the moon? What hour of the day was it? Nah.
He's like, oh, well, I wasn't expecting it. Yeah, historians are not I like not thinking about hurtful arguments and also things that may or may not be chasing me, so I love whatever this book has to offer me.
Yeah, you definitely find a way to distract yourself during the day. It seems like both of your questions are going to be longer answers, though, unfortunately. So, Gwen, what do you do during the day?
Well, the first thing I do is I have the sending stones, right? The ones that
Yeah, you already sent one to your father.
Yeah, I gave them to you.
And he's probably called it by now. So I call him and I spend a lot of time apologizing.
Gwen and Battlestar, you haven't called home. You haven't written. It's been days. I got your last letter.
Dad, I'm really sorry. I know you're really worried. I was just, I got
You're
in a really
baby.
interesting project at school. Thank you. But, you also have to be able to, let go sometimes. It's not that I don't love you. It's just...
How could I ever let you
there's
go?
no reason... There's no reason to worry, Dad. I'm okay. I'm totally fine.
I'm coming up there.
I'm so sorry. I lost the sending stone, and I found it today, so I called you immediately, right? So, see, I am a good son, still.
I love how it's like he wheels, like the elf, like in Dragon Age, the elves are like a metaphor for like indigenous people, but I guess here they're a metaphor for being Jewish, because that is Jewish guilt right there. Just like wielded like a spear. You don't write, you don't call. I thought you were dead.
I will call you every other day for now. I might be gone for a little bit because I have a trip coming up, a school trip, and I'm not allowed to take.
Where is this trip? You didn't tell me about any trips for school.
It's I can't tell you. It's confidential. It's a
no, you are not allowed.
It's what? Well, Dad, you can't not let me go. I'll fail this class if you don't let me go. So it's just, we wouldn't want that to happen, right?
But then you'd come home.
I'll come back a failure. Think what everybody would think.
You'd still be home.
Yeah, but I won't be a doctor, and you know how the neighbors would talk.
We're really leaning into this metaphor. Okay.
It's just gonna be a couple days, Dad. Just a couple days. I don't know when exactly it's gonna happen, but I'll give you a heads up, okay? Before.
You'd better. I worry.
Okay. I know you do. Dad, I love you, right?
What's wrong?
No, nothing. No, nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. I forgot because I haven't talked to you in a couple days, and I just wanted to tell you that I loved you. That's all. There's nothing wrong. Oh God, he's gonna come to Silvery Moon.
I love you too. I love you too, Bumblebee.
I tear up a little bit. I'm gonna come home soon, okay? Just for like a couple days. I miss you. I miss home.
I miss you too, and everybody else is always asking about you.
I'll let you know, but I definitely once this semester's over, okay?
It's the summer.
Yeah, but I'm taking summer classes.
You have to take some break. You work too hard.
I get it from you.
No, you get it from your mom.
I kind of sober up a little, I wouldn't really know. Well, Dad, I have to go. I'm sorry. I've got to get back. There's something calling me.
Okay. Call me later.
Okay. Love you, Dad. Bye. I think that's kind of the final straw for him, and he's I'm assuming he's in his room. He just breaks down and just spends the rest of the afternoon crying. He misses home, and he just didn't want to see his dead mom, and it's just a lot. It was a lot, and he's very young, and it's been bad.
I mean, we all know what Viernan does. Viernan goes and has another fight with his fiancé.
Gets absolutely demolished by his fiancé.
Because he can't tell her anything because it would just make her a target of whatever the fuck APTAP is doing.
Which, of course, inspires lots of trust.
Exactly. So that's not fun audio. Let's not do that. Does Sarathiel do anything special, or...
Sarathiel, I think, he spends a while trying to train. He spars with Taina, and he, puts her ass in the dirt. He's so full of, pent-up anger and rage that he almost, knocks her unconscious.
Woohoo!
And then he realizes that, maybe he should, take a couple steps back from that. And he spends the rest of the day trying to calm himself down by playing the flute.
Aw.
At the point where he realizes he drew blood, he's like, I should stop. This is a sparring exercise. I need to get control of my emotions.
Yeah, buddy. Generally, I prefer it when we don't bruise each other in a spar.
I'm sorry. He leans down and helps her up.
It's okay.
It's a lot going on. By the way, you should check on your brother. He's having a time.
Good to know. I thought I heard, was Celestine here?
Yeah, she was. She may or may not have caught us physically in the same bed.
What?
We were clothed. Both of us, to be clear. But, the implication is there. So just, maybe this evening before around 6 or 7, just make sure he's alive,
Cool. Great. Cool. Ice that and put the sword away, for God's sake.
Yeah. If anyone needs me, I'm going to be on the roof.
Don't jump?
No, not to jump, no.
No, seriously, I will call somebody.
No, just to play the flute so I don't bother anyone. I need to do something else.
All right, she gives you just a measured look, and, you recognize it, because V uses this look sometimes, too.
He's really not worried about Taina. He understands how Twin Soul works in, a really deep way now. So, if he knows that if he can trust Viernan, he can trust Taina.
Yeah. Yeah, she just kind of bumps you on the shoulder and says, okay, now just check in later, okay?
Yeah, sorry about the rib again.
It'll heal.
Sarathiel heads off to find a spot on the roof.
It sounds like we all kind of spend our days in some variation of quasi-upsetting, but also trying to find quasi-normal actions and activities. And I think we're gonna wrap it up by saying that we meet in the courtyard ahead of the mission. Hey everyone, Val here. Thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of Crit Fail Club, Restoration. If you can't wait to hear what happens next, check out our Discord server for episodes in pre-release, or to listen in live as we record. You can join us by going to bit.ly/CFCDiscord. For more information on the show, character biographies, and links to social media, head to our website, critfail.club or critfailclub.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. We don't advertise at all, so if you like what you hear, tell a friend who might also enjoy the show, post on social media about it, or leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Full episodes are available on our YouTube channel, bit.ly/CFC channel, or on other major podcast platforms. Thanks again for tuning in.